Welcome to Hardwood Handicappers with Zach Cohen, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back. This is Zachary Cohen, VSiN.com senior editor, with another episode of Hardwood Handicappers. Hardwood Handicappers is sponsored by Better Picks, the fantasy app that turns your basketball takes into cash. Download the Better app and use code VSINPOD to get $10 free. No deposit needed. That's VSINPOD, VSINPOD. It is Wednesday, November 12th. We are recording this at 10 a.m. Eastern. Last night was, a chalky night in the NBA. We had a lot of double-digit favorites. A lot of them won, pretty easily. One of them being, the Knicks, who just continue to roll right now, and they will be playing tonight against the Magic. We will talk about that soon. But the game of the night was definitely that Celtics-Sixers game on Peacock and NBC, which I just think continues to do a great job of covering the league. I've been texting with, the old co-hosts of this podcast, Kelly Bidlin and Jonathan Von Tobel. The NBC's broadcast has just been sensational to start the season. I mean, the way that they are presenting these games, they are making the NBA feel as big as it needs to feel. And it does feel like all of these games are delivering. I mean, the other night we had that Wizards-Pistons game that went to overtime with the Pistons making a furious comeback late in that one. And then last night, just seeing, that Sixers team just to continue to just look explosive in the backcourt, find ways to win, even without Joel Embiid, who, had a knee injury heading into the game. It has continued to be the Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe show, and it's just really fun to see Philly having fun, because I think that it's been a really tough team, for those fans to get behind over the last couple of years with those older, aging stars that just can't stay off the injury report. We will see them soon. Paul George got a positive injury report heading into yesterday, and Embiid, it looks like he avoided a major injury, but man, just watching Maxey and Edgecombe continues to be a treat. And the Celtics put up a good fight in that game too. They are also kind of starting to figure some things out. So another really good night of hoops. It's been a great time to be a basketball fan. I mean, especially when we're seeing some of those bad NFL games, you really realize how lucky we are to have a lot of games on a nightly basis in the NBA. And I think that NBA nerds are really being rewarded for their love this season with all of the great packaging we're seeing from NBC, from Amazon, from ESPN, which is the host tonight. So let's get into the Wednesday slate. I won't waste any more of your time. It starts with the Magic at the Knicks at 7 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, this game is on ESPN. The Knicks are laying 4.5, total 226.5. Knicks are 7-0 at home this year. 5 straight wins coming into this game, all by double digits. Like I said yesterday, this team looks like a complete wagon, definitely looking like the number one offensive team in the league right now, and the defense has been rock solid. Having said that, I do think this is a really tricky spot for the Knicks, because it is the second night of a back-to-back in Orlando. A team that I have been a little bit hard on to start the year has really started to stabilize a little bit. I mean, the Magic hasn't always been pretty, but they are starting to get back to their defensive roots. Over the last 5 games, they are back in the top 10 in the NBA's defensive rating rankings. And this is a team that is now into 19th in offensive rating this season. That is a zone top 20 that they have failed to crack in a decade plus. So the Desmond Bane acquisition is helping them out a little, even with Bane, kind of struggling. I mean, this is one of the best shooters in the league, and he has really struggled since getting to Orlando. I do think he's going to try to turn it around. He did hit a game winner last game for them, but I'm starting to see some positive things from Orlando, even with some bad kind of news coming out. I saw a report yesterday that maybe Jamal Mosley and Paolo Banchero are butting heads a little bit, but I do think that things are looking better on the court. And I just kind of think that Orlando is a really tough matchup for New York, because you have Jalen Suggs out there as one of the best point of attack defenders in the league to kind of disrupt Jalen Brunson a little bit. And then you have all of that size on the wing for Orlando that it can disrupt a New York team that gets a lot of offense from the wing. I just think this is a game that is bound to be a little bit closer than people think. Maybe not taking the 4.5, but I do think that Orlando plus 10.5 on an alternate line will be something that you will see in some parlays from me. So make sure you head over to VSiN.com for my best bets later. I will have some on this show. but I'm going to be looking for ways to put the Magic plus 10.5 in there. And I think I'm going to play also Jalen Suggs over 11.5 points at minus 118. Suggs played a season high 29 minutes last game, has gone over 11.5 points in 3 straight games. And the Knicks give up a lot of above the break threes. Those are threes that are not from the corners. Knicks are 28th in the league at guarding that spot, and Suggs scores 41% of his points from that spot in the court. So I think we're going to see Suggs hit a couple of threes in this game. Also think, the way that the Knicks guard spot-up shooters and pick-and-roll ball handlers kind of plays into Suggs' hands. So 12 points seems like a very reasonable ask, and this is a number that is starting to go up. So I got it at 11.5. I'm seeing some 12.5s. I think you might have to take 12.5 if you want to tell me. Game number 2 tonight. Bulls at Pistons, 7 p.m. Eastern as well. The Bulls are 2.5-point underdogs in this game, total 235.5. This is a really tough one to handicap. I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of names on the injury report. Kobe White remains out for Chicago. Josh Giddey questionable again with that right ankle sprain. And then when you look at Detroit, they are depleted. Tobias Harris is out. Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson as well. Cade Cunningham is questionable with that back injury that he suffered last game. And Isaiah Stewart is doubtful. So this is a game that I don't want to spend too much time on. I just don't know what's going to be happening with the players in this game. If Giddey plays, the Bulls are a team that maybe I'll be looking to throw into a parlay like the one I mentioned before. Maybe I take the Bulls like plus 7.5 or something in that and get close to plus 100 with that parlay. But it's hard to give you much here when I just don't know who's going to be playing. But I will mention that Trey Jones has gone 15 plus points in 4 of the last 5 games. So if Giddey is not out there, I would be looking at his player props, think that there's an opportunity there. So if Giddey's out, look to Trey Jones. Let's move on to the third game here. It's Bucks at Hornets, another one at the 7 p.m. Eastern slot. Bucks laying 5.5 on the road, 231.5 total. This is a game that I really think that the Hornets are the right side. I know that the Hornets are going to be missing LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, but man, this is the third game in 4 nights for Milwaukee. They are 13-18 against the spread under Doc Rivers when playing in that situation. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is questionable tonight with a knee injury. That is more of, maintenance. It's not something that he's suffered. But when Giannis is questionable, that's really like when other players are a little closer to doubtful. So I'm not sure we're going to see Giannis tonight. And I will say, the Hornets are 8-4 against the spread under Charles Lee when failing to cover in 3 consecutive games or more. I just think this team is bound to kind of bounce back and be a little bit more competitive. And they're going to be well rested. I mean, the game that they played against the Lakers on Monday, that was the first game that they had played in 2 nights. And they had last night off. So it's just a team that has played 2 games in 6 nights now. I just think they're going to look a little bit fresher than the Bucks will here. And I will say Charlotte plus 6.5 or plus 5.5. Those are plays I'd be looking to make. And I do think that the money line is worth a sprinkle. And I will also add Konka Nipple is another player that I think we got to keep backing on the player props market. I think maybe over 23.5 points and rebounds is where I would go with it. That's available at minus 104. He has gone over tonight's mark in 4 consecutive games. What do those games have in common? Those are games played without LaMelo Ball. Knipple's averaging 23.3 points per game this season when Ball does not play. Tack on another 6.4 rebounds per game in those games without Ball, on double-digit rebound chances per game. He's just continuing to kind of light up the scoreboard as a scorer, as a rebounder, continues to be one of the best rookies in the league, and I really don't see any reason that stops tonight. I mean, the Bucks are a solid team when it comes to point-of-attack defense, something that I didn't think that I'd be saying heading into the season, but I do think that this is a game where Knipple just kind of keeps going. I mean, based on volume alone, if no Ball, no Miller, that's just not a lot out there to take away shots from him. I mean, Colin Sexton's going to be the point guard in this game, but Charlotte's running a lot through Knipple. I think he continues to put up big numbers. 4th game on the board tonight, Memphis Grizzlies at Boston Celtics, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Celtics laying 6.5, total 230.5. Boston coming off of that heartbreaker against Philadelphia last night. And I'll be honest, this is a game I really don't have much of a read on. Like, I want to give you something for every single game, every night, even if it's just a lean, whether that's a side, a total, or a player prop. But I just don't have a read on either one of these teams right now. Like, Memphis is a team that I still believe is going to turn things around at some point very soon here. But the injury report for Memphis continues to be a problem, and the Grizzlies are just not getting as much out of Ja Morant as I think that everybody would expect, heading into a season where he's largely healthy. I mean, Morant has dealt with injuries throughout his career, not a player you could ever really count on to play 70-plus games, but he's been out there this season, sans one game for a suspension, but he's been out there, he's been healthy, and he's just not been producing. So I'm not seeing the Memphis team I expected, but at the same time, Boston is a team that wants to be shooting three-pointers, is not really making them, and I just need a little bit more time to kind of get a feel for what this Celtics team is going to be. So got to skip that one. Got to move on to Cavaliers Heat, which is a game in which the Heat are favored by 5.5. Total 238.5. That game tips at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Being played in Miami again. These two played an awesome game the other night where Donovan Mitchell hit a corner three to send the game, seemingly to overtime. Then Andrew Wiggins had an alley-oop dunk, 0.4 seconds left to win the game for Miami before it got there. It's just an unbelievable game. And just a continued Heat season where we continue to see one of the best offensive teams in the league playing at the fastest pace in the league, something I never really thought that I would say in 2025. And this is a team that's not running ball screens. They are running the Grizzlies offense that Ja Morant hated last year. It's a very interesting situation. And I do think it's going to be weird to see a Cavaliers team playing without Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley tonight, all three on the injury report, joining Max Strus. Struggling to keep up with the Miami offense that, like I said, has been stellar to start this season. I think that this is a game that the Heat pretty much win comfortably. I'd be looking at the Heat on the spread if you have to take something in terms of sides, but this is another Heat team that I'd be looking at in moneyline parlays. And I will add a player prop here that I'm looking at myself. Jaime Jaquez to go over 6.5 rebounds. That's heavily juiced. You can go over 7.5 at more palatable odds. Jaquez in the games that Miami has played without Bam Adebayo, who continues to be out, 8 rebounds, 12 rebounds, 13 rebounds. He is really stepping up, providing a little bit of a presence on the glass. I think that we kind of see that continue, especially with the Cavaliers playing without some big men. And Sam Merrill is a player that you also will want to keep an eye on here because with no Mitchell, no Garland, that's going to be a lot of perimeter shots to go around for everybody else. Well, Sam Merrill has been one of the guys stepping up, and Opta AI, who does player prop projections for us at VSiN.com for the NFL and NBA. VSiN Pro subscribers should definitely head over there and check those out. They have him going for 18.74 points tonight. His total is down at 14.5. That's a pretty big edge to the over. So I would be looking at those player props there, and I'd be looking at Heat money line or Heat on the spread. Before we move on to the next game, I will mention that VSiN has a great newsletter for everybody that is listening to this podcast and is new to us. Sign up for our free daily newsletter. It's a great way to catch up on everything, delivered straight to your inbox every morning. VSiN's newsletter offers picks, data, and strategies for the day's betting menu. Sign up for free now at vsin.com/newsletter and start receiving your free newsletter tomorrow morning. That's vsin.com/newsletter. Stay ahead of the game and bet smarter with VSiN. Let's move on to another game tonight. It's the Wizards at the Rockets at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is a game where the Rockets are laying 16.5 points, total 234.5. I don't want to spend too much time on this game. I do not like big spreads. You will hear that often from me, and I'm not going to be able to lay Houston's 16.5 here. It's just not a team that I believe I can trust offensively enough to win by 20 plus. I know that's a little crazy. This is a team that was, number one in the league in offensive rating heading into yesterday, and the Rockets are very good offensively, but it is a team that kind of bullies you to get to that offensive rating. And I do not know that I see them just kind of lighting up Washington, a Wizards team that has been a little bit more competitive than I think that people realize this season. And it is a team that is very talented. But I will say this is a game where I am looking to read Shepherd over 11.5 points at -104. Shepherd has gone 12 plus in 3 straight games and 4 of the last 5. Wizards have been getting lit up by on-ball guards that can shoot this season, and Washington is near the bottom 5 in the league in above the break threes defense. So something I mentioned with the Knicks before, they do not guard that spot on the floor very well. Shepard's scoring chart consists of nearly 50% of his scoring from that spot. So I think we're going to see him kind of get going. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about here is if this game is the blowout that Vegas expects, we might not see Shepard play the fourth quarter, and I have been getting burnt by these a little bit. These blowouts have been kind of killing me this season. Next game on the board, let's go to Trailblazers at Pelicans, 8 p.m. Eastern. That game has the Blazers laying 8.5, total 231.5. This is an interesting game for me because I do think New Orleans should not be getting this many points at home. I think that the Pelicans really left a bad taste in people's mouths, just kind of getting blown out by the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix the other night. But Phoenix is a lot better than people think. That's a team that we will talk about it later. They are, ranking very well in terms of both advanced offensive rating and defensive rating. I don't think that the Pelicans should just be ruled out because of that one performance. This is actually a team that had covered in 3 straight before, losing that game and getting blown out. And Willie Green in his career with New Orleans, 11-10 against the spread as a home underdog of 6.5 to 12. Portland's just 1-3 against the spread on the road this season. 0-12 against the spread as road favorites of 6.5 and a 12. Playing smack in the middle of a 5-game road trip. I just think this is a really tough spot for the Blazers. I mean, it's the type of game that it can be tough to get up for a young team. I know that they do have some veterans in this rotation, Drew Holiday being one of them, but I do think that this is a game that we're going to see a little bit more fire and competitiveness from New Orleans, and this is a return home for the Pelicans after 3 games on the road, so I think you see some more fire there. I kind of like the Pelicans plus 8.5. That's a lean for me, and it's something that I might look to add, as we get a little bit later in the day. Next game, we got the Warriors at the Spurs at 8 p.m. Eastern. Spurs laying 4.5, total 231.5. This is a Golden State team, as I mentioned early on, got blown out by Oklahoma City last night. It was a game where Steph Curry really struggled, with both foul trouble, kind of getting to look like himself after coming back from that illness. The Warriors never really felt like they settled into that game. You're now seeing, some support for the Spurs because of it. I actually think Golden State bounces back again tonight. I know that I'm a little bit high on this Golden State team, maybe a little higher than I should be, but I do think that this is a very talented roster, a team that plays well on both ends of the floor. And I do kind of have doubts about the Spurs still. I mean, I know that San Antonio has Victor Wembanyama, one of the best players on the planet, but man, I still think that this team is lacking shooting a little bit. And I think that might kind of show itself against a Warriors team that still one of the top 5 defensive teams in the entire NBA. And I just kind of think that this is a game we're going to see Curry go off. I mean, I wrote it down here. Curry to go over 23.5 points at minus 108 seems like a very reasonable play. I mean, Curry played horribly last game, but he only played 20 minutes. So I do think we're going to see him on the second night of this back-to-back. Still having a really good season, averaging 25 points per game on 44.2, 37.9, 93.5 shooting splits. This is also a really tough matchup for the Spurs backcourt because De'Aaron Fox, while very athletic, is not a good on-ball defender. Stephon Castle is a good on-ball defender. The second-year pro is, one of the feistier point-of-attack players in the entire league, and a player that I do think is going to kind of be molded into a Drew Holiday type and someone that we're going to be talking about as a winning player for a very long time. But we have seen some, savvy veteran players kind of manipulate him and get him to, pick up some cheap fouls. And I just think that Curry is going to be able to do that tonight. And I do think he's going to get hot from deep against a Spurs team that, like I said, I don't really trust their perimeter defense. I'll also mention, in terms of liking the Golden State side, Butler played 22 minutes last night, Green 22, Kuminga 24. That blowout allowed all of those guys to get rest. So this really isn't the type of back-to-back that you're normally talking about. And I do think that the Warriors kind of get back in the win column here. Next game we'll talk about is the Suns at the Mavericks. Suns laying 1.5 on the road, total 226.5, 8:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off. Everything about this game screams Suns to me. I mean, I am a Suns fan. There's always going to be a little bias bleeding through when I'm talking about Phoenix, but I will say 16th in the league in offensive rating this year. Dallas down at 30th. This has been the worst offensive team in basketball. Suns are also top 15 in the league in defensive rating overall, but top 10 in the league in half-court defensive rating. So just been a really good team on both ends of the floor, and they are top 5 in the league in three-point makes. Makes it hard for me to kind of picture the Mavericks with that terrible offense keeping up if the Suns just play remotely well offensively. Having said that, like, this is a stay away for me because I do think there's going to be something weird at play with Nico Harrison having been fired. I mean, this Dallas team, one of the things that we have heard since Nico Harrison was fired is that they felt like they were playing road games when they were at home in this building because, you know, there were close games where the Mavericks had chances to win, and those fans were chanting "Fire Nico" in the biggest of moments. These players were never comfortable playing in this building when Harrison was gone. I wonder if there's going to be an insane atmosphere, an insane pro-Dallas atmosphere in tonight's game that kind of boosts this team to a win. So this is a stay away from me. I'm interested in seeing what the Mavericks look like the rest of the season. I do think there's a potential for them to try and sell off some parts. I'm not sure I see the most simple path to them trading Anthony Davis. I mean, great player, awful contract, awful injury history. I mean, we'll see what that looks like. And Kyrie Irving, the same. He's not even healthy right now. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to get for those guys, but I am ready to see them kind of build around Cooper Flagg and move into the next era of Dallas basketball. Let's go to the Lakers at the Thunder now. 9:30 p.m. Eastern tip. Thunder laying 6.5, total 230.5. This is the second ESPN game tonight. This is an awesome game. I think all of us basketball fans are going to be looking forward to seeing it. This is Luka Doncic versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It does not get much better than that. But I will say this is night 2 of a back-to-back for the Thunder. I know I was off in predicting that the Lauri Markkanen would miss the second leg of a back-to-back for Utah last night, but I would be surprised if Chet Holmgren plays the second leg of this back-to-back for OKC this evening. They just do not play Holmgren on the second legs of these, and if they do, that's tough luck. But, you know, history suggests that the Thunder will try and rest that second superstar and try to avoid him getting injured because he has had injuries throughout his career, and he will not be the only player on that injury report if I had to guess. I mean, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, those are guys that have all been missing games. All of them have statuses that are up in the air this evening. And I do worry about fading OKC again because of those injuries. And I worry about fading them in general. I mean, this team is just an absolute wagon. And it's a Thunder team that very much looks like the favorites to win the NBA title again. They are the betting favorites. But I just got to take 7.5 with the Lakers. Like this is just so many points for a team that I think has been just great to start this season. I mean, I know that, you know, the Lakers kind of leave a little bit to be desired when you're talking about the defensive end of the floor, but they do defend very well when you're talking about a team defense. They might not have all of these shutdown players that you're looking for. I mean, OKC's got a starting 5 worth of all NBA defenders. Like, there's not going to be that elsewhere when you're looking around the league, but the Lakers do a decent job of kind of keeping their team concepts intact. And offensively, this has just been one of the best teams in basketball. I mean, Luka Doncic has been stellar since the start of the year. Austin Reeves has looked like an all-star himself. And I know that LeBron James will be missing this game for the Lakers tonight, but I just think this is a game where the Thunder are going to struggle to stop the Lakers. And I know that the Lakers might struggle to stop the Thunder, but 7.5 is what you're paying for that. So I think that the Lakers keep this game within the number. I'll add that OKC is 34-39 against the spread when playing the second leg of a back-to-back under Mark Daigneault. Also 4-5 against the spread when facing teams that attempt 27-plus free throws per game under Daigneault. That's pretty significant to me when looking at this game because Luka Doncic can draw a lot of fouls, and so can Austin Reeves. So if this overly physical Thunder team does not have the friendliest of whistle tonight, I do think the Lakers can get to the free throw line, put some of those players in foul trouble, and just kind of make this a game. I actually think there's a chance that the Lakers stay within 5.5 and have a chance to win this one late. This is a showcase game for Luka and a game that I expect that he's going to play very well. Moving on to Hawks Kings, 10 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta laying 3.5, total 233.5. This is a tough game for me as well. I mean, the Hawks are coming off a good win over the Clippers, but I do kind of wonder if we're overreacting to that result a little bit. We are kind of dumping on Los Angeles, praising Atlanta a little bit. I do think that this team struggles offensively without Trae Young. The more that I have seen, the more that I am starting to think that they should pay Trae Young his money. And whenever he, gets to the table and talks about it this season, I think that this is a very good defensive team when Young isn't out there, but they definitely struggle to create shots. And I think that we saw in that Clippers game, they might not have won if Vit Krejci did not score 28 points on 8 of 10 shooting from three in what was a complete outlier of a performance. And I just kind of think that heading into this game where Sacramento should be desperate for a victory. I mean, this is a team that got blown out by Denver last night, has lost their last 3 games by 72 points. Now having to face, a Hawks team that is beatable after having to go against the Thunder, Timberwolves, Nuggets. I think Sacramento will be fired up. I think that the Kings are the better offensive team. I think that the defense will be boosted by the fact that they're playing a below average offense. And I just think the +4 for the Kings feels like a really good number grab. And honestly, +140 for Sacramento to win on the money line, that feels like a great play too. So I'm going to be looking at the Sacramento side, if anything here. I'm not going to continue to fade the Kings. I think they're going to figure it out and still be kind of that below average borderline play-in team that nobody in the league wants to be, especially in a year with such a great draft class. But I think that they'll get it done tonight. Final game on the card. It's a good one. Nuggets at Clippers, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. This game will be played at the Intuit Dome. Clippers, 2.5-point underdogs, total 225.5. There's going to be no Kawhi for Los Angeles again, no Bradley Beal either. It's getting really hard with this Clippers team, but I do think that this is kind of a buy low spot for Los Angeles. I mean, Denver is playing the second leg of a back-to-back. I think that there will be some tired legs for a team that is a little bit older, has some guys that are injury prone, in Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. These are guys that really don't like playing 2 nights in a row, even if that was, a bit of a lopsided game last night. I think it's tempting to pile on this Clippers team at the moment, but this is a team that I believe is going to win a lot of games this season. And I'll say that Ty Lue's 24-20 against the spread as a home underdog of 6 or less in LA. I still think this is a good defensive team. I still think this is a good offensive team. And this is the type of spot where you really want to see a fresh team that did not play last night go out there and handle its business. And I kind of think we will. I just think that, back-to-back for the Nuggets. Clippers playing a team that, eliminated them last year, forced Jeff Van Gundy to make those awesome STFU shirts in the offseason. This is the game that, Los Angeles has been preparing for all offseason, and I do think they're going to get the job done. Before we do our best bets, I just want to remind you about Better Picks. It's time to put your hoops IQ to the test with Better Picks. Download the Better app and pick more or less on player stats like points, assists, and rebounds, and track your lineup in real time. Use code VSiNPod to get $10 free, no deposit needed. And with up to 1,000 times multipliers off just 2 picks, your hot takes can really pay off. Better Picks is live in 33 states. Download Better and use code VSiNPod today. So to wrap up a bit of a longer episode, I mean, it's 12 games tonight. You got to bear with me. Let's get into some of the best bets. I have Jalen Suggs over 11.5 points at -118. I'm going to be playing the Hornets +6.5 at -120. Con Knipple over 23.5 points and rebounds at -104. Reed Shepherd over 11.5 points at -104. Steph Curry over 23.5 points at -108. Let's go Lakers +7.5 at -108. And Kings +4 and Kings money line at +140. Those are the plays for this podcast, but I implore you to head over to VSiN.com. I will have more sides. I will have more totals. I will have more player props. I know I've been a little bit off with the player props to start the season. We'll get it right. I'm very happy with the process. I think the blowouts have been getting to me a little bit, but I do think we're going to get hot here soon. And I'm looking forward to another episode of Hardwood Handicappers tomorrow. Fans of the show, we will have Jonathan Von Tobel on, and it is a 3-game slate, so we will be talking some futures. Make sure you come back, and let's get some winners tonight.